Have you ever had a Monday night like this before?
It's great.
Is it?
Yeah.
This is our second take. I'm just going to acknowledge it right up top. Either because you could, in a moment like this, you could try to rehash content that was so good the first take, or you could just say, hey, that was good, but you know what? The almighty Mac has failed you.
Exactly.
And this is why we're here. But this is episode 10 of the Greater Mythos podcast, a very unorganized podcast where Josh and I, we talk about movies, comics, books, TV shows, comics, books. And I try to do it fast every time, and that's always what happens. I get tripped up, but that's all right. Episode 10. Brother Chris is here.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time we've had a second take.
Is it? Well, it's because when you and I usually do it, I'm recording one audio by myself, alone in my room. But this is not that day because we have our special a special brother guest brother.
Whatever.
What do you prefer?
Special brother guest.
You like that
That's
one?
A nice ring, yeah.
Give us 3 seconds of who you are and why you're here. Quick.
Sure. Hey, I'm Chris.
That's it. I joke. Continue.
And I like Star Wars.
Wow. Today we're talking about Star Wars. That's why you're here.
And typically nobody wants to hear my opinion on
Yes.
Star Wars because I have a lot of them. But I was invited to contribute, so here I am.
Here you are. And we mentioned in the first take, may it rest in peace, about how the rest of the family may or may not want to listen to this because of the content. Do you think that they will listen because of this content?
I think it'll be a chosen few in the family that will listen.
Dare we list names?
I'm not.
You're not going to do it?
No.
You're going to do it?
Do what? List names?
You're going to list names?
Well, Dad will listen to it.
Okay, great. We'll stop at Dad.
It'll probably go right down the gender lines in our family.
A bold claim.
That's my guess.
Okay, but we're here. We the hot topic of the day, Chris, you sent us a hot link a week or so ago.
I did.
And this link, tell us what this link was. Tell it what it was about. Tell us why you sent it.
Yeah, so when we initially talked about doing this, and you guys were going to invite me to tag along, and
so graciously we invited you.
Yeah, yeah. I knew I had taken a quiz. It was a Star Wars movie film ranking, including the Star Wars story movies, and I really enjoyed it because the typical quiz or the typical way people rank the movies that they like is they get a piece of paper out and then they just start listing the movies. And the problem I find with that is when you have every movie in front of you,
yes,
all the films from the Star Wars main line of movies, you get overwhelmed. Your judgment starts getting
a lot of emotions are going.
Emotions,
yes,
that's right. This quiz is a head-to-head. It says episode 4 versus episode 5, and you pick which one you like better, and it goes to the next set and the next set, and eventually it builds out your top 10 or 12 or whatever, however movies you scoped into it. So, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Did you feel good about yourself when you finished the quiz?
I did.
Did you really?
I felt accomplished.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think you feel accomplished after we finish this?
I don't know.
You know, like, I don't think you will. I don't think you will. Josh, go ahead.
So you felt accomplished, but did you feel vindicated by the results you got?
Did you feel like you were on the high ground?
So I have to mention, before we get into, I think we're doing some predictions maybe here in a little bit.
Maybe.
My list has evolved as I have taken in more of the content, the new stuff. The latest season of Clone Wars,
The Mandalorian, probably. Yes.
The end of the sequel trilogy,
Rebels.
Okay. My opinion on some things has changed, which is exciting because it's brought out some new interest in some of the stuff I didn't like before. So
do you read the Legends books?
I've only read Heir to the Empire trilogy.
I don't know what that is.
Timothy Zahn's trilogy.
No.
About Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Oh yes, I read a Grand Admiral Thrawn. What did I just say? I'm tired, guys. I'm tripping over my words. Comic run. It was like 5 issues. I still couldn't tell you a lick of anything about Thrawn, but I enjoyed it in the moment.
See, that wounds me because
I'm
Thrawn
sorry.
is my favorite
It is your
character.
favorite. I remember.
And you know, there's a new trilogy and it's canon now. So because he was in Rebels, they decided, hey, let's make him canon in the books. And they brought the same author back. Timothy Zahn came back and he wrote them all. They're really good, just like their Heir to the Empire trilogy was. There's differences. There was a few things he had to do based on, the canon, but it's good. It's really good. And I recommend, if you like the old books, you'd like these.
Yes.
And the differences in opinion of some of the things, I know for a fact that my opinions on the movies are biased in some ways. I know that I put a higher basis on... So I watched the Clone Wars and the Rebels as they came out, but I also watched the 3 prequel movies as they came out. Those are the ones I saw in theaters. I wasn't alive when the first 3 came out.
New
Though
blood.
I did see, and I think it was the same for Josh, we saw the original trilogy first. Dad made sure I watched those before I saw the new ones.
Classic.
So I saw them in the same
That's
order.
good.
I saw them in the same order, but
Mhm.
I didn't get to see them in theaters, unfortunately, which I really wish I did. But that's my bias. I can accept that going into these predictions.
That was beautiful.
That's great.
Were you moved?
I was, and
Good.
that's a great question, maybe for later in this episode, on if you're introducing a new person to the universe, which movie should they watch first? It's a big debate. I know a lot of people have strong opinions in different ways, so it'd be fun to talk about.
I was going to make a suggestion, but it's on my list, so I'm not going to do it. Speaking of lists, we have lists. We have 3 lists comprised of 11 movies. Do the math.
do.
I'm not going to do it.
They are ranked in
They are
different
ranked.
orders, presumably.
And you had mentioned a saucy little tidbit, Chris,
Uh-oh.
about predictions.
That they might be different.
Yeah. So as I understand it, right, we have our lists.
We
and
have our lists.
We're going to try to guess each other's ranking a little bit.
I think,
Is that what
yeah.
we're
What do we
doing?
do? What do we do? The first take that is now burned in my trash can on my Mac laptop.
We got through my predictions of Chris's
We did
rankings, and then it quit.
briefly. Yeah, briefly run through what those
Well,
were.
I feel like I get a second take, so I'm going to tweak them a little
Holy
bit.
cow! Oh, a cheat.
I still think my top ones are accurate. I still think that Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope are at the top.
I feel good about that
Um,
too. And you know more
because
than me.
I could be wrong, but I understand my bias, so I'm going to try to deflect my bias onto you and think maybe he likes the original trilogy better. And I know we've talked about him too. But that's my top 2 for you. And then I think you liked Rogue One as your third. Now that could be higher than normal. But I'm actually thinking I'm remembering you saying you did not like Solo. So I'm actually going to put that below Force Awakens in your bottom 3.
All
With
right,
Last
all right.
Jedi, but Last Jedi is last. That's
I'm
I am
guessing.
adamant
Is that
about.
that's what you're gonna? That's the hill you're gonna die on. Last Jedi's last.
Yes.
The name lives up to the scoring.
All right, Josh, your turn to rank Chris's rankings.
Yeah, like I don't think I have anything to add. I think you're a pureblood. I think you're like I was there in the 60s or 70s when they,
Pureblood.
when
I'm
they
not a
came out,
muggle.
right? I watched those for the first time too. We talked about it. They're great films. I'm a fan. They're out there on the wall.
Good.
I think Empire is probably top. I think all I'm going to say, because I don't have much to say when it comes to you, because I don't think we talked about Star Wars as much as we have about the Marvel movies. Another episode.
True.
Empire first, Last Jedi last. I think that's, I'm doing the rock symbol unashamedly. It was not intentional, but it happened.
Interesting choice of finger.
Thank you. I don't know why. I feel pretty good about that, though. I think that's where I'm
Alright.
going to hang my hat.
So you want me to reveal my list now, or do we do
I think we're
predictions of
gonna-
others?
I think you let us know what you think us two are, and then we'll go rocking round robin.
All right.
We'll
All
start
right,
from the
that'll be
bottom up.
good. So starting over here on my right, we have my biological brother,
Yes.
Josh B.
It's beautiful.
I think that's a fair way for me to kind of differentiate between the two Joshes here.
Thank you.
You guys know their voices if you're listeners. If you don't and you're just new to this, so I'll do Josh B and a Josh G.
It's
So
me.
over here, Josh B.
Mm.
I'm going to say this guy over here is more of a fan of the prequels than others would expect. So
Wow.
I'm going to say that your number 1 is Revenge of the Sith. That's going to be my guess. We're just doing 1 and 10.
Let's do 1 and
1 and
10.
11.
Let's
Right,
just
1 and 1. Okay. I'm going to go with Revenge of the Sith for you for number 1. And for your last one, I mean, I have what I want you to say.
Mm.
But I'm going to say that your last one is probably... I'm going to go with it. Last Jedi. That's my guess.
You feel good?
I feel good about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then Josh G.
Read me.
Gosh.
I know, right? I know. That's how I felt towards you just
Enigma.
now. Thank you.
Enigma. I guess you're number 1. I'll go with the same one, same age range for you guys. So
Ouch.
I'm gonna say Revenge of the Sith,
It's fair.
And
Firm,
then-
firm but fair.
and then your last one. I think you're gonna throw a curveball here.
Okay.
I think that you're probably going to go. Let's go Return of the Jedi.
For my last one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A hot take.
Controversial.
Yeah, right. That's what this is all about.
That's right.
There's nothing more emotional than Star Wars. Is that what I said? the
Not
first time?
everybody digs the
vulnerable.
murder bears in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, Ewoks.
Very controversial.
They have a name. All right. Let's start with Josh B over here. Let's go from 11 to 1. So ranked lowest to highest. This could realistically go on for a while. So I feel if we go in with the mindset of let's be open, let's be honest about how we feel with the content.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, let's get out of here before midnight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
That'd be good.
I mean, once we get to the middle of the pack, there's going to be less being said about some of those.
That's
My
bold of you to
last
say.
is The Last Jedi. You were correct about that. I just lost interest in the characters, and for a lot of the same reasons that your generation, and not just your generation, half the fandom didn't like those movies. The politics that was in it, regardless if they're there or not, I felt like they were there, and I go to see Star Wars for.
They're there.
He says they're not hiding.
there.
They're not hiding. He says.
And I go to see Star Wars for
The Force
lasers.
is female now. So.
Oh. Oof.
But that was it. I liked the old cast, and I even liked some of the new cast, and I felt like my favorites of each were betrayed for different reasons, right? Because I also my favorite character from the new trilogy is actually Poe, the pilot, and I felt like he got a huge kick in the butt in the last. I mean, the first scene, of course, where he's doing all those crazy things was just fan service, but after that, when they made him look like an idiot, that's what bothered me and set the tone for the whole movie for me.
Wow.
I'll go quick through some of the other ones. Solo is my second to last. I liked bits of it. I felt like the acting was decent. I like seeing Queen Daenerys in the movie. I liked seeing, spoiler alert, I like seeing Maul at the end.
He did, yeah.
The fan service there.
He was there, wasn't he?
I think we should probably say that if you have not seen these movies and you want to and you don't want to be spoiled, first of all, shame on you. You should have seen them already.
That's right.
You've had
Dads
plenty of
everywhere.
time. That's right. So you're going to get a lot of spoilers tonight.
Like Darth Maul.
So Solo is my second last. There were parts of it I liked. There were parts of it that felt weird. It felt more like I was watching a Marvel movie than a Star Wars movie in the production feel, which I love Marvel movies, but that's not what I was looking for. And and as I said,
It's like Marvel with lightsabers.
And I guess this might have been in the last take, but I understand I have biases.
Yes.
So we'll stick with that. The next lowest at 9th is The Force Awakens. I liked bits of it, but when it just came out and when you have the anticipation of all these storylines and where they can go, I feel like it was a much higher rated movie for me. But then after you saw what it became, it just plummeted.
Did you say Force Awakens?
Hmm?
Which one did you just say?
Force Awakens.
Right. Yes. Right. I was listening.
Yeah.
Above that, I put Return of the Jedi. As Chris mentioned,
Good.
I didn't.
Chris is keeling over as we speak.
I love lots of that movie, and actually, I didn't mind the Ewoks as much until I remembered, or was told, and I don't know how true this is, but I saw this in a documentary that they were originally going to be Wookiees. You know how cool that would have been?
I've heard that too.
Why did they change it?
I don't know. I think if you look at every movie, there's kind of every film has kind of a hint of child
Appeal.
Yeah.
Even the part where his hand gets cut off.
Well,
Is that for the kids too?
There's some dark things
Okay,
going on.
all right.
Dark undertones.
Mixed tones then.
Exactly.
Interesting.
He definitely had a trend, I think. I mean, and then he had a trend back away from it too, I think. He was learning and changing things. It's his universe. He can do whatever he wants with it.
Okay.
But in Return of the Jedi, why it's above my bottom 4, or my bottom 3, why I didn't quite make it that low, is because that was the first big cinematic space battle I saw in a movie ever. So that's nostalgic for me. Seeing Luke become a Jedi Knight or a Master.
Did we ever find out which one it was?
And how did he even become one? That's my question.
Who deemed him worthy?
Ben, Yoda.
Yoda's dead. They're both dead.
I
They're
think
just
it might have
floating
been
around.
Well, I think if you go back and look, sorry to be all nerdy.
No,
but
please. This is why you're here.
Yoda tells him,
Wow.
"You're not a Jedi until you confront Vader."
Right.
And if you watch Return of the Jedi,
I've seen it.
you've got the epic confrontation right there.
In Dagobah. Right? Right in there.
Dagobah.
Dagobah.
You have that confrontation where you have the moment where Vader turns back to the light because of the influence of his son, who is now a Jedi Knight.
And it didn't work the first time when they on Empire Strikes Back, where they.
Right.
Didn't take.
I agree with that.
He wasn't ready.
Are any of us really ready? No, of course not.
And it's not like I hate Ewoks. I mean,
I do. I don't.
because they're Ewoks are not. It's not something that inspires hype in a movie. I guess it was more of a comedic thing.
Listen, would you or would you not say that Ewoks or what are they called? The things in the new trilogy.
The new trilogy.
Porgs
Porgs
are
okay.
equal to Ewoks.
No.
They said, what'd you just say?
I would say no.
You would say no.
Not at all.
Well, let me finish what I was saying.
Okay,
Then you might feel
go ahead.
differently. You might feel differently.
Sure.
You might feel differently. They said, hey, they were going to be Wookiees, but they're Ewoks now. The kids loved it. They ate it like chocolate. We have this new trilogy. The Force is female. We're coming in hot. We need Ewoks again. Porgs.
One was a civilization. One was atmospheric critter.
Why can't you just, why?
That's how I would put it.
But as a counterpoint, not that I believe this
You
counterpoint.
Remember that
you
one
see
point when he was
one-
jumping on the lightsaber?
Chewie's got one on a rotisserie.
I forgot about the rotisserie.
I mean,
But
so
one of
bad.
them is integral to the plot and the other isn't. That's the counterpoint.
one has invented flight. It's crude and it's made out of sticks and canvas, but it worked.
Which one was that? What?
There was an Ewok flying through the air attacking an ATS.
Oh, right. They were dropping rocks on it.
I mean,
Because it was, that was the approach they were
But
taking.
they could have been Wookiees.
They could have been
They
Wookiees.
could have been Wookiees. Yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
not
gosh.
saying Ewoks are the biggest travesty George Lucas invented, but I'm saying that
It's close.
imagine if they were Wookiees. That's I'll end it there.
Continue with the list.
Then in seventh is Rise of Skywalker. It the I think Abrams did the best he could with what he had. There were mistakes. It wasn't my favorite movie. The space battle at the end was not shown enough. We saw the big fleet show up of rebels, and then you didn't see it again. The
That's
ending
true.
conclusion lightsaber battle, there were so many ways that you could have done it better. And it's okay if you don't, no movie's perfect, but if everyone walks out of the theater thinking they should have done it this way, then I think you failed at some fundamental level.
Sure.
And this is also just a rumor, but throughout the entire new prequel, the new sequel trilogy, whatever, it felt like they were deliberately avoiding fan theories because they just had to be different and had to be surprised, and you had to surprise people. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible without disappointing literally everyone.
Yeah. I don't think it is.
Now, apparently they didn't. There's people who will support the movie because they support the politics in the movie, and I think that is the other group. I don't think they really like it.
You have to support your politics.
Now, I know there's probably some people who, younger kids, who these were their first Star Wars movies because, this might be a topic for later, their parents failed them and showed them the wrong movies.
Oh my goodness.
But that's probably a...
wow. Something you want to share?
I feel like if you're going to send your kid to, or take your kid to the theaters to see Star Wars, you should show them the context first, regardless of which order. Just get them all 6 before you go and see 7, 8, and 9. But that's just my philosophy.
Interesting.
The next, actually, I had Rogue One at 6.
Oh.
This middle of the pack is, the order could be flipped around for me now that I'm looking at it, but so I had Rogue One. I liked the last 15 minutes a lot.
The last 15 minutes were
Um,
great, weren't they?
I am a big
Best moment in Star
yeah,
Wars.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. I'm a big Vader nerd. He's an incredible character, as well as a Star Wars character. I mean, Star Wars isn't like, we're not watching like someone make the Mona Lisa here. You know, it's a bunch of nerds enjoying nerdy stuff.
Wow.
But Vader is a.
I'm offended.
Sorry, I offended myself.
Chris is
with that.
offended.
Yeah.
He's leaving.
The Death Star stuff and the whole character arcs and finding out the architect of the Death Star when there's been jokes about, I feel like it was a poor choice because the entire time Star Wars has been out, we're all making fun of how bad the Death Star is designed and jokes are being thrown around about the exhaust port. So now you're going to show the
exhaust
architects
port.
as like the big story. I don't know. That was,
It was pretty good though, wasn't it?
now, as with all of this,
Keep it going.
Yeah.
as with all of my rankings, what I will say is the new trilogy looks and sounds great.
Indeed.
The visual teams and the music team, they blow it out of the park. They've done it with every movie with the best tools. That can't carry a movie, but it definitely can elevate a movie. And I think that's important to note.
Interesting.
Well said.
It was a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I'm sure it was good.
Yeah.
The soundtrack for
Yeah.
Rogue One?
I have thoughts on it.
You do?
I do. Yeah.
Is it on your list?
It's up here.
Wow.
Yeah.
You pointed to your head.
Yeah, that's the soundtrack is a big issue for me.
Oh.
Mm.
We'll talk about
Wow. Oh. Interesting.
But I do agree with what you just said, Josh, that
Thank you.
I don't remember it. And that's probably part of maybe it's not as good, but it definitely wasn't bad enough to notice either. So take that how you will.
Interesting.
The Phantom Menace is where I put it 5th. I like the droids are still. I like the idea of a droid army being this cold, and they aren't in the movies at all. The battle droids are very goofy, but at the same time, there's this overwhelming presence. They're using politics to get their way, and it's working. And the Republic isn't able to help, and the oppression that the Queen felt and Queen Amidala. I like that storyline. I like the droids, the Gungans.
Oh.
I'm not going to say they're the greatest thing ever made, because they aren't.
You're biting your tongue so hard right
we
now.
just lost a few listeners.
Holy cow. People that have never heard of Star Wars like Gungans, I'm out. Sounds bad.
When you have goofy characters that are designed to appeal to the kids and for humor.
Do you think the Gungans were used to appeal to the kids?
Jar Jar was.
You think so?
By far, yeah.
Were you amused?
No,
Not that you were a kid.
I was
but-
not amused.
Well, I'm just, okay.
No.
No?
Thoughts?
Yes, thoughts. Continue. We got to get to the thoughts. We got to go.
And I was a kid when I watched the movies. I was 5 years old when it came out, right? It was 2001 when the first movie came out.
Sure.
So I was 5. I'm gonna laugh at the Jar Jar jokes.
Phantom Menace was 99.
Oh,
I
it was
believe.
even older.
98 or 99.
Was it really?
Yeah.
What a year.
So yeah, I was actually
99.
wrong about that. So
Good
I was
That was a
even
good
older.
one. That was a good one.
So I'm 3 or 4 years old. I mean, I'm gonna laugh at Jar Jar jokes, but that's what they're aimed for, you know.
Yeah.
The older audience is gonna be alienated by it.
Do you think Liam Neeson thinks fondly of the Phantom Menace?
I don't know about that.
I think he is one of the shining lights in there.
Do you think he's laughing all the way to the bank?
Yeah, but
Of course, right? Of
yeah.
course. Him and his mustache.
Then he got into the Taken universe. And,
Those are good
and
films.
just
First
took
one's
off for
good.
him.
First
Yeah,
one's
yeah.
he said it just took off for him. And then he did that one movie that, oh my gosh, I'm fighting a wolf. It's me,
Into
Liam
the
Neeson.
Gray or something?
It's a good
Is
film.
Is that right?
That is what it's called,
Okay.
Into the
He's
Gray.
in-
All right, all
He's
right.
in Batman Begins. He's the villain.
I
He's
told-
Ra's al Ghul. in the
why
movie,
did I
and
go
he does
to
a really
Into
good
the
job there.
Gray?
I don't
Why did I
know.
go to that first?
It's a
It
dark
was in
place.
Batman Begins.
Speaking of which, as much as this is a little caveat here, as much as everyone loves the Dark Knight trilogy, and it's usually the middle movies everyone's favorite, as far as I've heard, Batman Begins is actually my favorite of that trilogy.
You just like to swim against the current.
Actually, I think if I said Dark Knight Rises is my favorite, I think that's
Ah.
people's least favorite, maybe.
Why do people not like that one?
Why don't we save that?
Sorry. Yes, you're right.
I
you're
would-
right.
I said
Another
just a
hot
little
take,
caveat.
We got a lot to get through
Yes,
here.
we do. Continue, Josh.
Okay, so Phantom Menace.
Liam Neeson always does it for me. I don't know.
Duel of the Fates starts off the new era of the soundtrack. That sound with the battle and all of that is just incredible. It's the first time we see real lightsaber battles.
Mm.
I actually saw a documentary where Mark Hamill was saying, I'm watching these new guys flip around on stage with these lightsabers, and we were told that they were really heavy and we couldn't do that. So obviously they changed and evolved, but
I wonder who made that call.
who made every call?
Walt
Lucas.
Disney? Oh.
Yeah, up to a point.
No, yeah, they changed it in the prequels. I mean, you see them flipping around and stuff.
They're always
Which
flipping
it
around.
makes sense. They're Jedi. They can use the Force. They're faster and stronger than everybody else. Presumably. Okay,
Yes.
so we'll get to my top 4. I put A New Hope at 4th.
Okay.
I like the movie. I still what brings it out of the top 3 for me is every time any door opens, the whole movie stops. And you can see it then pause the movie to open the door and start the movie again because it's in the 70s.
It's 1977.
I understand. I'm biased. But
Chris says, do you know how pure 1977 was?
it's still in my top 4, all right? It's in the top half of my
Man.
ratings.
Yeah, audiovisual snobs in the room. I
That's
guess.
right. Did you see that Wampa? Get out of town, man.
It's
Wait,
not
say
even.
New
It's
Hope?
not even CG.
The Wampa? Oh, yeah.
But
It
I
was an
do
arm,
think
wasn't it?
Yeah.
choosing to do an art style of like a gritty futuristic, like everything's kind of breaking down, fits when your technology level is lower when you're making movies. Like they had limitations and using models to make things look good, and they did a really good job with a lot of it. I mean, that opening scene in A New Hope in 77 is incredible. If you think about the just stuff that was the first episode of the first Star Trek show, if you've seen that, it looks like a Saturday morning
it's
cartoon.
Bad. It's bad.
Star Wars blew it out of the park then, and my only complaint being doors opening
Yeah.
is pretty minor. I still like the movie. I still do. Empire Strikes Back is in the top 3 for me. It's my 3rd.
Third. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
He says, I'm tipping my hat to Empire Strikes
All right.
Back.
All right.
Okay, so when I watched the Battle of Hoth,
Uh,
I admit, as a person who grew up playing strategy games, watching battles happen, space battles, was what excites me, right?
Huh.
I really liked the Battle of Hoth. I really liked the whole storyline, and was like one of the first movies I'd ever seen where the good guys don't just win right away.
Yeah.
They had their moments. They did things. Luke Skywalker took down
They
Walker
did
by
things.
himself. But I liked that movie, and I think it had a good arc to it. And I think even by itself, it's a good movie, even if you didn't have context. My number 2, which is really going to upset my older brother.
Oh no! Should I leave the room?
Is based on his earlier. Now he said his opinions have changed, but based on his earlier opinions, is Attack of the Clones.
Wow.
I think I just saw a bead of sweat just like
No,
drip down.
I think that's a bold one there. I've not heard that one called in the top 3. I don't think ever.
Right. But
Since '77.
notice
Going
what
against the grain here.
what I
guys.
like about
Wow.
Star Wars movies is the
Yeah.
grand scale battles, and we get that there. We get the first huge army of the clones and the droids, and the whole Geonosis scene, and seeing all of the Jedi. That's kind of what I liked about. So, and we might talk about this later, but Star Wars has a lot of games that have come out, and they had an MMO with a cinematic, which I want to show you. Wish I had shown you, Chris. You've probably seen it, but I wish I had shown you before, where it was set in the Old Republic, and they had a bunch of Jedi and Sith doing battle.
It's pretty good.
And that's my dream for a mainline movie to come out, to have that many Jedi and Sith on screen at once. But I digress.
Alright.
It's my bias. I really like the last hour of that movie. The romance is not really.
The first 3.
Is it that long?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It felt like 4 hours.
There is a lot. I'm actually more jarred by
Jar Jar?
Anakin's.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh.
sorry. I know. I'll leave.
Ooh.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I ruined it again.
So Anakin, the romance is a cheesy sci-fi romance.
You don't like sand?
Oh, it's
It's
coarse
everywhere,
and
Chris.
it's
It
rough.
gets everywhere. But Anakin, it bothered me more when he's like arguing with people when he doesn't know what he's talking about. That bothers
Yeah.
me more than the
Yeah.
romance thing. When he argues with Obi-Wan, and when they call him a Jedi Master, but then also when Padme said, "No, he's just a Padawan," and like, of course it's going to evoke a reaction from him. You're
Yeah.
talking to a teenager, anyway, a really tall teenager.
Oh, they are tall nowadays, aren't they?
Yeah. A lot of midichlorians.
What are they feeding him? Gosh dang.
Metachlorians. So, right now, I will say, even though it doesn't make sense to automatically go with metachlorians, in that, and of course they're going to alienate people with it. Guy, it's literally a one comment. They never even talk about it again.
True.
It's only in the Phantom Menace.
If I may, really quick, was the midichlorian concept and all of that, was that a thing in the first, in the original movies?
never
Or
even
did that
mentioned.
come after the fact?
It's
That
through
George
us, it's around us, it flows, it binds all things. But then it became biological count, like a T cell count.
Was that George too?
That was George.
Okay.
That was George.
Do you think he has like a napkin that he wrote these ideas on that he has
I
stored
don't
away?
know. All I can say about it is quantifying the Force was a huge mistake, and I think he corrected it by completely ignoring it for Revenge of the Sith.
Ah,
And then as Disney took over,
they did take over, didn't they?
the cartoons came in, they just ignored it also. So
Yes,
it's kind of like how the expanded universe just kind of disappeared
it did.
when Disney took
They
over.
said it doesn't matter; it's all gone.
So
And
did
we said, "Oh,
midichlorians.
those were all good things."
'Cause we'll talk about that later, hopefully, if we have time.
Oh my gosh!
The Clone Wars explained. Was it Clone Wars or Rebels? Clone Wars, because it was Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. It explained the Force origins.
In the Clone Wars?
Yeah, they go to that planet, and then there's this like deity kind of guy, and he's got his kids. One's light, one's
He's got his
dark,
kids. Wow.
and they're the protectors of the Force, and that's where it all originated from.
And they're alive?
And well, they're like the sentient kind of a being,
Okay.
if you will.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fascinating.
Wow. I haven't seen it.
And I think, to my theory on the metachlorian thing, is he needed a way to display to the audience in just a passing moment, wow, this kid is strong, right?
And he doesn't have abs for no reason.
Right.
Right,
He's a little
exactly.
kid. How do
Right.
we display his power? And so the quantifying part, I think, came from that. He wanted Qui-Gon to have a way to relate, wow, this kid is incredible. My problem with the midichlorians isn't quantifying it so much as it is saying that the midichlorians are the chemical that flows through your body, and it makes up everything, and all life has it, and making it some kind of chemical thing. When if you think about the Force, it really has more of a Hinduistic origin, as like in that religion. It even talks about this force that emanates through all things, and it's more of an abstract idea than something you would chemically quantify. But
good old George, him and his Hinduism, he was really into it.
George was
God bless
George
him.
was retconning things throughout his series. This was just one that people didn't like, which I don't criticize people's judgment of midichlorians.
Of course not.
No, I don't think anyone can say they liked it. But anyway,
you're number one. I
like Attack of the Clones because I
was
like
number two.
The Geonosis, all of it, even Obi-Wan going there, even seeing all that. I like that. I like Obi-Wan and Jango Fett, Origin of Jango Fett, which is a fan favorite, just like Boba was. Their battle was cool. Seeing someone who's not a Jedi take on a Jedi, it's pretty good in creative ways. And I like the actor.
Yeah.
So I like that stuff.
He was Aquaman's
but
dad.
Like I said earlier, I am biased and I know it. I know Attack of the Clones objectively wouldn't rate as high. If I were to rate them purely objectively, which is impossible, I probably wouldn't rate it as high there. But I really got into that movie as a kid. But I'm also 6 or 7 years old when I see it. As you claimed, or as you predicted, Revenge of the Sith is my top.
I think I nailed you, didn't I?
Round of applause.
I got the 11th and the 1.
Wow.
Man, I know my brother.
What was number 11?
Last Jedi.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So
that wasn't that long ago. I'm tripping.
Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith inspired so much of my childhood that it has to be number one for me. Not only was it the first movie, because I actually didn't get to see the other two in theaters until recently when they re-put them out, but Revenge of the Sith was the first one I got to see in theaters. I actually remember it was PG-13, so mom and dad said, no, you can't see it. You actually went to see it with your friends, and you told them it was okay, and then I got to go see it, which is, we had sheltered childhood. But anyway, or I did anyway.
Goodness. A look inside the life.
I bought my first M-rated game way later on. I mean, just to point out the kind of childhood I had, I wasn't just allowed to do any of it.
You okay?
I'm scarred.
Oh, no.
So Revenge takes the cake for you.
Yes.
So
it starts off in a space battle. How am I not going to put it?
So when he makes the comment of more or less, I think that's what he said, it shaped his childhood. When he makes a comment like that, what is your initial response in a nutshell?
All I can say is from my experience, the original trilogy was a part of my childhood. It was definitely something we watched a lot of, but it wasn't the center focus of like the genre of movies that you think about, you talk about, you argue about. It was just this great trilogy of movies, like Back to the Future back in the day.
I've only seen the first one.
Same kind of Indiana Jones trilogy. Well, when it was a trilogy and it was good.
Wow.
Then they added a fourth. And that's another
with the aliens
podcast.
It was okay.
With the crystal alien skull.
Shia LaBeouf was in it. He was swinging on freaking vines, dude. I'm having flashbacks as we speak. Yeah, holy cow. Not a fan?
Doesn't belong. Nope.
Oh my goodness.
I liked him in Holes when he was still a kid.
In Holes.
I mean, he got weird.
He's gotten into some hot water recently with a movie that he did. He's like a gangster or something. I think he has like cornrows.
He's
you see that?
Kind of messed up these days, I think.
Disney, right?
Shiloh, if you ever hear this,
we love you, man.
Sorry, but
hoping
kind of went off the radar.
Your whole just do it thing. I mean, you got to see that coming, man.
Oh, it's so good.
Sorry, Josh. Are you good? Do you have any more?
Well, I'm still interested to see how you react to my rankings.
All right. Well, do you want to go through all the rankings first, or react to each one?
Let's do this. Wow, that always surprises me. There's like the water trickling throughout the house. You can hear it go as the toilet flushes.
There's plumbing in the walls.
That's right. Yeah, I see plumbing. Chris, you and me. Let's go back and forth as we count down.
All right.
And let's collectively react. So Josh's last was Last Jedi. His top pick, Revenge of the Sith. No hate mail is allowed, but his address will be linked in the description. All right.
Not on the one I host.
Right. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Sorry. I was looking at my list and I got concerned. Chris, go ahead. Number 11 for you.
Last Jedi.
Okay.
Last Jedi. By far.
Okay.
I mean, that's an hour of conversation. I don't think we want to hear all about that.
Just a few bits.
Complaints about
just a few bits.
But it has one central theme through the entire movie that it was constantly taking me out of the movie to think of the other movies, the other films, and the characters the way they used to be.
Continuity wise.
Continuity wise, not in a good way how a character has evolved or morphed, because it didn't have any explanation. For example, the main line at Luke Skywalker, the choices they made for this guy. He ends Return of the Jedi a hero. He's now a Jedi. He's turned his father. He's left with the Force ghosts that talk to him at night.
They showed him,
and yeah,
with the little bears.
And so he is riding a high, and the world is reset, and we have this big celebration, galactic wide. And then you fast forward a couple decades, and the guy's miserly. He's living alone. He's aloof. He doesn't care about anything, seemingly. He hates his family, his kids. That's the kind of impression you get from him. And he's milking sea cows.
He did. He firmly
he's got
grasped
these strange critters that are keeping house for him.
Porgs.
I understand the origins of the island. It's supposed to be an ancient, or the starting of the Jedi temple, or I forget.
Is that how that was?
That's what they said.
Cool.
I guess the book goes into that. I haven't read
Did you read it? You didn't read it?
No, I'm not.
Is it on pre-order?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But you have this guy who, for 30 some years, however long it had been, everybody's been waiting for the return of Luke Skywalker on the big screen, and he finally gets there, and he. It's not Luke Skywalker. It's some other recluse, and he's a big fat coward. I have no other way to put it.
Why did they do that? Do you think? Because
yeah.
the reasons that I've heard is that they just want to. I'm paraphrasing. This is all things I've read and heard on the internet. Great place. They just want to show you that your heroes aren't always the greatest thing, or that it was never always about Luke, or you're just a big fanboy because you want to see him do flips and tricks.
Well, and it's not really. I didn't care for Yoda doing all of the gymnastics.
He did do
Attack
that.
of the Clones. I understand he's younger. He's a younger man.
Ish.
Frog, whatever it is.
Toad.
Amazing character in the saga. Love little Yoda. But it's not his character that I was familiar with. But it showed and explained how he could do those things and who he was at that point. That's fine. But Luke Skywalker. So this is probably the most controversial opinion I can give on this.
Okay.
And this is Kathleen Kennedy, Disney, Star Wars.
Uh-huh.
If you look at Luke, Han Solo, all of the fantastic, happy, epic ending storylines that Lucas had created, they were completely inverted with the sequel trilogy. And that's fine.
Is it?
It's fine if you have valid, good, strong, dramatic reasons why these people totally radically changed. If you don't, you're constantly taking me out of the movie, and you're making me ponder, well, how did they get from that point to this point? So I'm sitting in your 2.5, 3 hour long movie questioning your choices for the rest of the movie. And I don't think that's what you want from me.
What do they want from you?
Well, I don't know, but
what your money apparently.
Yeah.
I think that's
okay, everybody just think back as I try to knock the mic over. Think back to the end of Force Awakens. You have this beautiful moment. You're standing on the rocks, looking over the ocean, and Rey finally arrives. She finds Luke Skywalker.
He's there,
and she takes out the lightsaber.
His lightsaber. His father's lightsaber.
The killer of younglings.
Yes, 9,000 it was.
Well, maybe that's why he reacted the way he did. But that lightsaber, she brings it to him in a plea that we need you. The world is not as it was. It's fallen apart. Come back, Luke. Help us. You're our only hope. That whole kind of a mantra. And the beautiful music, John Williams.
He's there
at his best at the end of Force Awakens. And I got tears. I'm the misty guy. I'm trying to hide it, Nobody knows I'm crying. It's just popcorn in my eye,
Yeah, wow.
That kind of thing.
Mess eater.
Yeah, and she hands it over, and she's in tears, and he takes his hood off, and he's emotional, visually emotional, breaking down.
Yeah.
And the movie's over.
Yeah.
And you're just...
It's pretty good.
You're done with this emotional roller coaster that you're on for Force Awakens, which is... Its strongest point is the emotion and the drama that it gets you in.
Uh-huh.
In the beginning of Last Jedi, you're ready for answers. You're ready for redemption. You're ready for Luke to come back and be Luke. And he takes it, he throws it over his head, and it begins a half hour of comedy of this miserly old crabapple on this island.
Crabapple.
Being cared for by little rats, rodents of unusual size, drinking milk from a sea cow.
Yeah.
That's what we're given. You've got to be kidding me.
It's insane.
Anyway.
Do you think that, so I'm going to ask this and then I'll cut it off. Do you think that if we won't name names, if the director that directed The Force Awakens did The Last Jedi, would that have been the same result as far as the happenings? Obviously,
No, I think
script
actually
things.
he's come out and said he would have made very different choices.
Okay, we'll stop it there.
Yep.
I'm glad.
So the last thing I want to add to it,
Yes, do it.
if I may.
Absolutely.
I think there was a bigger. I'm a conspiracy Star Wars.
I love it.
theorist,
I'm glad.
And
Darth
everybody
Jar Jar?
laugh at me all you want. Darth Jar Jar would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. That's okay.
Ah.
But as I feared, spoiler alert, at Rise of Skywalker, Rey is Palpatine.
She is.
So the greatest hero that we had in the original trilogy turned his father back to the light. They destroyed the Emperor. This huge moment. Not only did they destroy him by throwing him down a shaft that blows up in this force lightning kind of
Fiery
a thing,
pit of destruction.
then it cuts to the Death Star blowing up entirely, but the guy lives.
He has different bodies, right?
Yeah.
Right. Isn't that what happened? He transferred his
He
essence.
lives. He figured out something in the force. Darth Plagueis, whatever. He's got
Have
it
you
down.
heard the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
The tale. Sorry.
So whatever, I can get over that. You got to bring back the big baddest, scariest villain because your movie franchise is starting to die at that point. So
Hello.
bring Palpatine back, right? It's all
Sure.
good. Whatever. But Rey is a Palpatine.
Yeah.
The biggest villain in Lucas's trilogy becomes the new hero's
Heritage.
heritage
Yeah.
grandfather. You got to be kidding me. And then Lucas becomes a miser. Han's back to being a deadbeat dad, a wife beater who's now smuggling goods again
Wife
in the
beater.
universe. I don't know if he did that, but
Who knows?
he's estranged
From
from
your
Leia,
mouth, yeah.
right? He's away from Leia. There's definitely tension there. So Han is back to his old self, and he's down and out. And it's like the OT never happened. You didn't need it, or at least Empire and Return of the Jedi never happened. You could roll directly from A New Hope right into Force Awakens, and that makes more sense.
And this is my crackpot theory, but I think that was their point, right? Is they were so sick of the original trilogy fan base, which it seems like they tried really hard to alienate you guys.
Right on.
Indeed.
Because they got some of my generation too, as you saw with my rankings, and I know I'm a little biased being around. I've spoken to you a lot, but also seeing the original trilogy first, I think that definitely helped frame my opinions. But not everyone who saw those movies, who's not in your generation, had differing opinions. Not a lot of people liked it. I'm seeing all over the internet when these conversations come up, the predominant group that likes these movies like them for the politics because they agree with the politics. And regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, if you like a science fiction movie based on real life politics, you're missing the point, right?
Yeah.
If you have politics in the movie,
Yeah.
like the prequels did,
It just takes you out. It takes you out of
Right.
the universe, right? I mean, if you take me out of it, you got to really work to get me back in because now I'm thinking about our world and the election and on our.
That's not a fun place to be.
No,
You're trying to
man,
watch a
the
Star Wars
whole-
film.
right? And you got social justice. You throw in a robot who is fighting for robot rights, and
Who was that?
female robot rights in Solo.
Oh,
You got
Alan Tudyk of Firefly fame.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're dealing with then. And come on. Well, Alan Tudyk, he was the Rogue One.
Oh, I'm thinking of Rogue One. Aren't
yeah.
I?
that
This is
droid's great.
Yeah,
Young,
he was
young
really good.
Lando's fembot
Yep.
is the one I'm talking about.
Great.
Yeah. Anyway,
Huh.
it's what
Okay,
it is.
That was your number 11.
So, how are we doing on time?
Well, no, we're good. We're
We're
good.
good?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good. Well,
This might be an extended episode.
We
How
talked
long?
about going a little longer.
Is that all right? Yeah, we're good if you're
I'm
good.
fine.
Let me know when you just want to. You just get up and leave when you're ready, and then we'll
I just
wrap it
don't
up.
want to put
Start
anybody
knocking
to
stuff
sleep.
Oh no,
over.
we're good. All right, so we'll keep the ball rolling. All right, all right. So my number 11 is first. We kind of already mentioned it up top, but so these results came from a quiz, multiple choice quiz. It put one against the other. You clicked back and forth until you went through all the movies, and then it procedurally generated this list. So, with that being said,
What's his defense for his pick here?
I'm just saying. So my number 11 was Solo.
That's a solid pick.
Okay, that's a Solo pick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Stamp of approval.
Listen. Solo was fine. It was fine. It was fine. Did it need to happen? No. Was it going to happen regardless? You bet, because that's what we got. I think Mr. Alden did fine, filling the impossible shoes that he was that he apparently desired in some shape or form to attempt. Good on him. I think he did fine.
Agreed.
Gambino, of course, and Lando. Why not bring him back? Why not?
Oh,
Give
he
us
was he was the shining light in the movie.
of course. Let's
It's
give us a
fantastic.
Lando movie. Do that.
I was watching Lando. It was amazing.
I'm glad we were all watching Lando. My closing thoughts on Solo. What Josh said earlier, other Josh, the prequels and then the newer ish movies that still take place before the originals or whatever. They have this interesting dynamic of being, just to be blunt, being fine to bad movies, but looking pretty good. So I say all that to say that I think Solo was a cool looking movie.
Sure.
Some of the shots when he was like in his, the trenches or whatever that he was doing, the different planets that they went on looked really good.
Yeah. Kessel Run.
Kessel Run.
Yep.
We got to see him do it, didn't we?
That isn't how anyone expected the Kessel Run to go.
Oh boy, did we get to find out how he got his name? Why? Why?
Yeah.
Just what?
I'm with you, man.
I don't know why. This has awakened so many things within me that I didn't know I had.
There has been an awakening.
There has been an awakening.
What if his family name was just Solo? We all would have moved past it.
So I got Solo at 9.
Okay.
I mean, it's down there.
Okay.
It's not my last 2 though.
Yeah.
But it is number 9. It's
Well,
bottom 3.
You go to your 10.
Okay. Well, my
You go
number
to your 10.
My number 10 is Attack of the Clones.
The
Wow.
opposite end of the
Attack of
spectrum
the
is mine.
Okay.
And so it's pushed so heavily down there because and I love what George Lucas had created, but in my opinion, this was one of the weakest writing ever heard in a Star Wars movie.
Did he write him? I forget.
Maybe not, but he was at least involved in the production.
He was in the
heavily.
room sometimes.
He was in the room where it happened.
Right. Where it went down.
Hovering over
Where it
them with a
happened.
knife.
That's right.
Wow. With a fake lightsaber.
Yeah, exactly. You will do this the way I want it.
Hello.
Anyway, lines like "I don't like sand; it gets in your toes." That's all. It's goofy. It's corny. It took me out of the movie, and it made me think how corny it was. And the Jar Jar character is that for me. It's and I wasn't helped when I first saw Phantom Menace. The theater had an issue with the sound.
Oh.
And all we heard were the surround sound speakers. They had to restart the movie, and it was 1 a.m. because it was
already
showing.
going downhill.
Yeah, so that's how it started for us. It was
No
a
good.
5-hour adventure waiting for this movie to happen.
For
correctly.
Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, no, this was for Phantom
Okay,
Menace.
good.
So that set the scene for Jar Jar because that was my first issue with with the character. I couldn't hear him at first. Once they finally got it going, I could hear him, and I wanted it to go the way it was before.
To disappear.
I wanted it to go away.
That's good.
So whenever you have a character like that in any movie, especially a franchise or a trilogy, you're taking me out of the moment. I have problems. I did not experience that in one bit with Lord of the Rings. Not one moment in those movies, and I watched all the extended editions, like you, Josh Barron. I think I watched them all in one day, which was a long day, but it was fantastic.
Well worth
And
it.
I was in this adventure, Band of Brothers. I'm in the adventure with these guys, Easy Company, the whole way through. You're in the trenches with these guys, in the foxhole with them, and then you have Attack of the Clones, where you're bounced out of it constantly by how ridiculous some of the things are. There are some really cool adventure kind of themes in it, which the Gungan world, that was cool. I hadn't seen that before.
Cool ideas.
There's always a bigger fish. That was all cool.
Liam Neeson.
You still had Liam Neeson.
He was
Ewan
there.
McGregor, which I loved
God bless.
the prequels. But yeah, it was kind of a ridiculous movie. I like the diplomacy themes, and I didn't originally, but I do now. It's part of my evolution.
Okay.
And
You've grown.
Yeah, I've grown.
Open-minded,
Yeah,
for better,
exactly.
for worse.
But yeah, that's really where I come from with Attack of the Clones. Just kind of a miss.
Okay.
But you mostly said Phantom Menace stuff. So my point is, with Attack of the Clones, outside of the romance story and Anakin being Anakin, because the sand quote is from the Attack of the Clones, what is actually something from the movie that you really liked?
That's true. The adventure comments were more Phantom Menace related, not Attack of the Clones.
There's some of that, though.
So if I'm forced to say things that I like,
If you had a
about
gun to
Attack
your
of the
back,
Clones,
yeah.
I like you, Josh B. I like the first scene you get in any motion picture of a bunch of lightsabers in a battle. That's super cool. I mean, I love Star Wars, lightsabers, Star Wars. So that was
Pretty
really
good.
cool. Ridiculous robot droid, whatever. That took me out of the movie. It was kind of, I don't know. I didn't care for it.
I think those
That's my number 10.
I think those scenes with C-3PO, like in those movies, also are what lowered my New Hope rating. and what lowered even in Return of the Jedi too. Because C-3PO, he was the first Jar Jar. He was.
So I hear you. C-3PO, I love C-3PO. He had the best moment in Rise of Skywalker for me, and he kind of has carried the story. He and R2, but R2 was kind of dropped off later on. Kind of carried the story through, and you see him in a lot of the in passing moments in those movies. And I liked him. What I don't care for is the droid, the Roger B1 battle droid.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, well,
Cool.
yeah, B1 battle droid. I don't know. I think if you're going to mass produce a bunch of droids, and this is going to be your army, you're going to go back to the software people and ask about the Roger thing. Like, this isn't really what we're trying to convey on the battlefield. We're going to reevaluate this. Maybe not make them stand on two legs. I don't know, and march like they're in the Revolutionary War when they fight.
It's pretty good. Why
Right?
not? Why not? Keep the dream alive. you know?
So I think then we've talked about this in the past. We talked about what we'd liked, what they could have done differently in those movies. So with the droids, like those weren't the only kinds of droids. Those were the main ones and the butts of all the jokes. But they had the big bulky ones, which they showed them doing stuff. You have to look closer in the movies to see them actually doing anything.
That's the B2.
Right, the super battle droid.
Right.
They have a deep voice. They're not Roger Rogers. They're destroying their own droids on the way. They're just killing everything. They have chain guns and
That's like when Windows 95 came out to replace Windows 3.11 for the older folks.
What's
that are listening.
Windows?
Yeah, it's Windows. So that was the second version of the software. I don't know. That's my opinion on it. So that was my number 10.
Good. Yeah. Wow.
your 10?
Yeah. So many. Yeah. So I'll do 10 and 9. So number 10 for me was The Last Jedi.
What was 11 again for you?
Solo.
Solo, right? Solo.
Solo was 11. 10 is Last Jedi.
do you parrot some of the points we made about it?
Yeah, I mean everything you said, Chris, is accurate. It's hard. It's hard not to be my own devil's advocate and assume that I know what people are going to say or think in regards to what I say. Not that anyone's actually going to do that. Maybe Kevin, but that's just for us to talk about later. The Luke thing was a bummer. Period. And then I love that people's response was, "Oh, you just wanted them to do this and be this." Yeah, I did want that. That would have been pretty sweet in a lot of different ways, and it would have made sense. What's the word I'm looking for? Narratively, his own legend and things of the like.
I saw this this basically panel by panel like comic thing. It was basically the diagram of the stages of a Jedi, right? And it showed the youngling training and being inaccurate and getting hit by the training droid. It showed the Padawan coming to his own and still making mistakes. It showed the Jedi Knight fighting on the front lines of a battle. He's at his physical peak. He's strong. Then it shows him in the master stage. He's not as physically strong anymore, but his force powers are like completely ballistic. Like he's amazing. Then they show his like patron stage. Like he's close to death, but he can do things with his mind that you can't even comprehend. Like he's picking up boulders the size of buildings and launching them across the planet. Like the stages of a Jedi, where their ability with the Force continues to grow even as their bodies weaken. But there's that stage in the middle where they're doing the flips, they're doing the physical stuff.
Doing the flips.
Luke is not in that stage.
Do a flip,
right? Yoda wasn't in that stage. Well, maybe Yoda's Yoda, but.
Yeah.
Imagine if he doesn't have to do flips. When he stands there and they're all shooting him, the smoke clears. Imagine if that's just a barrier around him, like a force barrier. He just blocked it all.
Or they just don't explain how he's still standing there. That'd been pretty cool. So Last Jedi, it's fine. I like Kylo. You know, a lot of rabbit holes there.
Without the shirt?
It depends on the day for me. Ben Swallow, as I've heard.
Ben Swallow.
I'm just gonna.
Or you use a Force time instead of FaceTime?
Force
Yeah,
time.
where you can project yourself. And
Your dad is showing.
talk to people.
I'm
on the side of the galaxy.
I'm putting a pin in Last Jedi. I'm gonna go to number 9. Your number 9 was Solo. My number 9 was The Rise of Skywalker.
All right.
Now.
The end of it all.
The
9
end
and
of
9.
the end of what? The end of what? So,
Hopes and dreams.
Josh, you and I have talked about this off air, whatever. We've cried in each other's arms. When
take.
I swear, hang on,
As you say.
I'm having a moment. I swear on my life. When the movie, when Rise of Skywalker ended, the credits rolled, I felt nothing.
Wow. Were you sleeping?
No.
Okay.
I felt nothing.
Okay.
It ended. Hang on. hang on. Oh, I just like you mentioned the Palpatine stuff. It's a double-edged sword because so I'm not sure if you guys saw this last year, 2 years ago, whenever they first did the teaser of like Palpatine's back, they just like showed off his laugh or whatever at the end of a teaser trailer. Pretty dope.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's going to be kind of cool.
Agreed. I was in it.
The concept is cool.
Sure.
The execution,
Yeah.
and the way that the plot came out,
Yeah.
maybe not so much.
Yeah.
It's weird how many people did predict that Rey was going to be of that line.
Yeah.
I think it's nonsense, but I don't have an idea of like, oh, well, they should have done this and this and this. It's just kind of like,
I think there were hints in the books and comic series that's where the theory came from. Because I know Matt, our family member, he predicted it and he was adamant and he was right. Sweet.
Yeah, he's
It's
the
bizarre.
only one I heard who nailed it perfectly. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
We'll stop. We gotta keep going. Number 8, Chris. Number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8.
My only comment about Solo, real quick, if I could touch on it.
Yes, absolutely.
Super fast.
Talk about Solo.
It's a great science fiction film. I love that it's a science fiction film done very well. It's a neat story.
Woody Harrelson is in it.
Woody Harrelson's in it, and if I might add, he's got his little Galaxy of Heroes, not Galaxy of Heroes. That's the game I'm playing. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy crew with him.
Yeah.
And if you look at the little campfire scene, it is the Guardians of the Galaxy sitting right there. They even have a critter, like the raccoon rocket. They even got it all right there in that one
Really?
shot. It was a great science fiction movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why you have to transport ore by rail when you have starships. But
it's a vibe. Okay, it's a vibe.
I digress.
Yes.
That happened. You have the origin story of Han. Okay, whatever, it's fine. Chewie was a highlight in that movie.
Yeah.
The little interaction, how he met Chewie.
That's pretty cool.
How he got the life debt deal, whatever you want to call it, where they were bond together for life, essentially. That was cool.
Romantic.
Yeah, and Lando, fantastic.
Yeah. Good
That
music too.
the whatever game Sabak, whatever game they were playing, the cards they were playing at the table to win the Falcon. That was it. That was the only scene I really cared to see with the Han origin. Is how did he get the Falcon from Lando?
You didn't want to know his name? You want to see his name? Or where he got like his hat or his pistol or whatever happened?
I mean, I figured the name was a family name back in Corellia, but no, it was because he was alone.
Sorry,
at
good.
the
Finish your comment.
I mean, I've showed up alone to places before, and they've never written my name down as by yourself or loser or loner.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah,
it's just Han.
it's just Han.
His name was just Han. He should have just wrote Han.
Yep.
Let's move on.
Move on. Han, move on.
That's Solo.
That's Solo. Number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8. So many films.
So number 8, I've got The Force Awakens,
Okay.
and this is evolved. It was a little higher previously. I used to be kind of a J.J. Abrams apologist.
Mhm.
I respect the quality he produces. I love the Star Trek reboot.
Mm-hmm.
I love his take on it. I love the characters are incredible. The casting was perfect. That's a different conversation though, but that's
That's a good one.
JJ. I do have respect for him. I don't think he knows how to end things. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Okay.
And that's my issue with Force Awakens and then into Rise of Skywalker. I think Rise of Skywalker was a course correction from the middle movie.
Who shall not be named.
Who shall not be named. I think Ryan Johnson
Nagini.
was on his own agenda and everything. Whatever. That's boring talk. We
Knives
don't
Out
wanna
was
get into
pretty
that
good.
anymore. But JJ tried to repair and he did his best. He had to throw in a lot of fan service because everybody was ticked off. Anyway, that happened. So Force Awakens, the look and feel of it's great. I love the idea that this is an alternate reality of Star Wars. I can get into it much more. That's a whole nother
It
conversation.
sucks that you have to do that though, don't
But
you?
I do have to do that.
Okay.
Vulcan's gone in the Star Trek reboot. Things are different. I buy it. The world's turned. Everything's upside down. Okay, no more Hamilton references.
Whoa.
Um,
Didn't even pick it up. So sly.
But Force Awakens, it was a cool movie. It had great effects, great sounds. The John Williams was all over the place, in your face, and I loved every minute of
Rhyme
it.
not intended.
It was great.
That was
I
good.
liked the introduction of Rey and Finn. I couldn't wait to see what Finn was going to do in this universe. A
Not
stormtrooper.
much.
Yeah,
No.
he left. He's an exile from the Empire, and
He should have been a
he's
Jedi.
traitor.
He should have been a Jedi.
Well, and so we were teased with that, even on the poster. If you look at the poster,
He has a lightsaber, doesn't
if
he?
you've seen this, well, he's got him. So there is I believe it's a Chinese, Japanese, or Korean version of the Force Awakens poster. Sorry, I don't remember which. But side by side with the American version of that poster, the film poster,
I have seen it. He's smaller in one,
he
isn't he?
is much smaller
Yeah.
in the Asian version of the
Yeah,
poster.
I saw that.
That is a more accurate representation of the movie.
His role in the films.
That's right.
That's right.
But what we were sold was you've got this black lead.
Yeah.
He's going to be a great character. He's holding
Yep.
a lightsaber. Can't wait to get behind him. He used to be a stormtrooper. It's going to
Yep.
be awesome. And he's not. He's really nothing. By the end of it, he's kind of kicked to the curb.
And he felt betrayed. He's actually come out and said that.
In the past
I
couple
have
weeks.
seen that video, that interview.
He feels betrayed because he was sold that was going to be him, and he feels it was about race that they did that to him. I don't know the real reasoning behind why they put him on the back burner.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I just don't. Not in this context. I think they realized in the writing that he was an extra character, and they were so gung ho on Rey and Kylo, and it was going to be 80% those two. But you watch the original trilogy and even the prequels. Even though the prequels was centered around Anakin and his story,
The sand.
you have all the in the sand. You have all these other characters whose story arcs are going right along with him, and it's great. And the OT, same thing. The main cast, you're watching all of them evolve and grow and whatever and change. But now you have just Kylo and Rey, and that's the focus. And yeah, Finn and Poe and even BB-8, they all kind of get kicked away.
Poor Poe.
Sad.
Poor
My
Poe.
favorite.
Yeah.
Number 8. The Phantom Menace. I'm looking at reactions.
All right.
Phantom
Seems
Menace.
about where we all had it. So
Yep, Phantom Menace. I often like to step away from the busyness and normality of everyday life to remember that Liam Neeson was in a Star Wars movie. It's just a nice thought.
It's a great thought.
It's a great thought. It makes you think, wow, anything is possible.
like him coming back in some kind of a show or something because everyone else can do it.
Why not? So Phantom Menace is good. Darth Maul, love it. Why not? He's back. Clone Wars in a big way. Really, he's
Yes.
back in a big way.
Yes.
Does that actually really count anymore? Who knows?
Yeah.
Email in to whoever to find out the
Yeah.
option.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor, good stuff, obviously. Hey, let me try to think of one
He might
thing.
be my favorite actor in the prequels. Is McGregor. I like his Obi-Wan
Oh yeah.
He's like the only one everyone
he's
wants back.
solid.
because
Yeah.
even though we had,
Love it.
even though of
Love it.
course, and I know everyone hates me for forgetting the name of the actor for
I
the
hate
first
you.
Obi-Wan, but
Alec McGinnis.
yes, McGinnis. I couldn't think of his first name.
Sir.
He is a
I
sir.
apologize. I
He-
guess I
even
take
though
my hat off.
even
yes.
though he did a great job, he was only really in 1.5 movies.
Plus, I don't think he actually knew what he was doing. I think I remember reading that somewhere.
No, yeah, he
didn't
was
fully understand.
He was thinking it was going to be something deeper, something more, whatever. He didn't like the mysticism of it. That's what I read.
Didn't he eventually accept it though after he saw it all completed? And
When the money came in, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He was good.
Hey man, everyone likes money. Chris, number 7.
My number 7's Phantom Menace. So I had it
Wow.
one notch higher.
Goodness.
That used to be bottom 2, 3 for me. So this is one of those evolutions for me. After watching everything and putting it in context, George had to set up the fall of the New Republic, or the Galactic,
the original
Galactic
Republic.
Republic, I
Yeah.
should say, not the old, not the new. It's the Galactic Republic. There had to be a fall. The Jedi had to go away. He had to set this up, and he only had 3 movies to do it. And I thought Phantom
that not
Menace
enough,
did
you
a
think?
really good job. Well, if you can get past, and the thing is where my wife kind of lost interest in some of these movies. She liked the look and feel of the prequels, but the diplomacy stuff. I mean, for me, originally when I saw it was kind of a snoozer. When you look back at it now, Techno Union, Banking Clan, Trade Federation, these guys coming together to blockade Naboo, and it was all a design. And this is where I'll throw back to Rise of Skywalker, which is higher up on my list also. The theme for Palpatine, how he's orchestrated this entire thing. Everybody's been puppets essentially.
He's been behind the scenes.
for this adventure, this epic. and it started with Phantom Menace, with this senator from Naboo orchestrating the entire thing. Mind blown. If you put it all in context, you get rid of the silly pod race that took 30 minutes of the movie, and you put it into this arcing story, and it's great. And the adventure, I love. It's cool.
Pod Race was a great game, though.
That
was actually-
All right, moving on.
Yep. Pod. Now this is pod racing. Number 7. All right, I'm gonna look deep in your eyes.
It was a fun game.
Number 7. Empire Strikes Back. Now again, I default to the auto-generated results. It is not that I went out of my way.
You voted things against
say.
it more.
I'm just saying.
See, that's the beauty of that quiz.
All right, so let me continue to talk then. All right, so it was good. It's
Isn't it 7?
Yes, 7. Man, it's Chris. I feel like I have to explain myself.
You do have to
God,
explain
man.
yourself.
Well,
That's correct.
I will sleep well tonight, regardless. It's. I can't imagine. Let me. How do I say this delicately? Chris, we're younger than you are.
I can take it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, and I can't remember exactly when you were born, but it was after 77.
1979.
Was it really?
It was.
We love you. I can't imagine being a young man. You see New Hope right when it comes out. You're along for the ride. You see Empire. Hey, I'm your father. Right? Plot twist.
Yep.
In the moment, and being able to experience that firsthand and not have any prior knowledge. And if you're already subscribed to this whole thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I was not in existence when A New Hope came out.
Oh.
And I was very little when Empire came out, and just a little bigger when Return of the Jedi came out. But
Yes.
when I saw those in the mid to late 80s, it was all new to me.
Right.
I was that kid, that
Bright-eyed and
9-year-old
bushy-tailed.
kid, right, who's blown away by this revelation that's your dad.
Yeah.
What?
Got family issues.
Yeah, seriously.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So Empire,
Empire.
you hate it.
No, my gosh. No, it's good. I'm not. Yeah. It was. I like it just fine. You're number 6. We give the ball.
My number 6 is Rise of Skywalker.
Goodness.
Because it did make me feel a little better about the sequel trilogy, because it did its best to correct a lot of things that went wrong in Force Awakens and in Last Jedi, and I do have issues with Force Awakens as well.
Yeah.
But it brought me back to the OT, especially near the end when you got the Leia moments, which were fantastic. When you're not putting her in space, like
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of one too.
Carrie Poppins
There it is. Very good.
is the reference that I like to use.
Very good.
Flying through space.
Carrie
Come on,
Poppins,
you've got to be
she
kidding
said.
me. You're doing that to me right now in this movie. What better way to get me out of your movie than to throw this character in space and she can fly?
And be fine.
What?
It's the Force.
But you got to propel off
It's
something,
the
don't you?
Force. It's the Force.
Is she pulling the ship to her? Maybe that was the big twist.
You think about it all wrong.
It binds us all together, but in a vacuum, it still does.
In the space vacuum.
That's fine. Well,
Go.
I
Yep. Go.
digress. Yeah. So, where was I here? It's number 6, Rise of Skywalker.
Yep.
Pretty movie.
It was pretty.
You had the music. You had a lot of ridiculous things happening all around us.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
I could spend an hour talking about all the issues I have with the
Called
movie.
Zeus.
Exactly.
Wow.
Seeing Palpatine come back, as crazy as that sounds, I loved seeing Palpatine.
I agree.
He still struck fear in me in that movie.
Kills it.
How is Rey going to get out of this?
Yeah.
I liked all of that. It's cool. I liked hearing all the Jedi voices. I would like to have
They should have been there. Should have been there.
Yeah, the Jedi should have been
Should
there.
have been there.
I think I told
Those
this,
cowards.
I think I said this to you guys. The Return of the King, the third
Yep,
Lord of the
yep,
Rings
yep, yep,
trilogy,
yep.
right? You had this Ghost Army come back
Yes.
and fight.
They
I
should've
wanted
done
to
it.
see Ghost Jedi coming back and maybe have some kind of a celestial battle between
Oh my
Ghost
gosh.
Sith, Ghost Jedi. I don't know, whatever. They could have done so many
They've
cool
done
things.
that. The thing is that's
Disney
not
cowards.
even that's
Yeah.
not even out of like the realm of possibility. In the Old Republic MMO, they used that. That's literally a cinematic, and they've done a cinematic of them all alive too.
It's not continuity.
And not
Josh.
just seeing the Force Jedi. Let's also see the Sith characters, like
Right,
the ones who are
right.
dead at this point. You can even like a bunch of characters that we don't know and some that we do know, and have them there. Maybe
But now in the movie, they did say that he is the voice that's been in his head all along. All the voices.
That was best line of the movie?
It
Question mark.
It was a good line.
So good.
I liked it. Not everybody did, but I liked it. I liked the idea.
That was the trailer. That was the teaser trailer that they showed first. Then he cackled, and we're like, oh.
But, so think about it this way: it really puts perspective on the light and the dark side. The dark side is very isolating. It's very empty. So when you get to that point, you're the ultimate Dark Lord of the Sith, and you die or whatever, you go away. There's nothing. The Jedi continue, and they're living with each other in the hearts and the spirits and whatever you want to call it. That mysticism,
in the Force.
It's light. Everybody ascends to this light place, right? But the dark, all of those voices weren't all the Sith Lords in his head. It was just Palpatine all along.
It's pretty good.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty good.
I agree. So Sith dark ends with nothing. Light Jedi ends with community and society and hope and cool.
And a fine end to this, trilogy.
Crazy ride.
Number 6, Attack of the Clones.
Number 6.
My number 6.
Oh,
Attack of the Clones.
Cheers.
Mine is the Attack of the Clones. Number 6.
Wow, that's right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Okay. You like a little bit of sand in your toes?
I like to dip.
I apparently like a lot of sand in my
You
toes.
like to bathe in sand. Listen, Jango Fett.
He's our Boba Fett.
He's our Boba Fett. He's our Boba Fett. He was the Boba Fett that didn't die right away. He still died. He didn't die right away.
If you think about that Boba Fett, just real quick,
Yes,
think about that Boba Fett character. He stands there, looks cool, he nods once, doesn't say a word,
Dies
and then
instantly.
falls into a pit. And everyone loves that character. It's so interesting.
Well, it comes from the action figure too. The
Which
action
I
figure
have.
had a rocket launcher backpack, and it was removed from production, I believe, because it was too powerful. They were
Wow.
afraid it would hurt somebody, or it did
Wow.
hurt somebody. I don't know.
It should. It's dangerous business.
That's when the this figure of Boba being this amazing character came to be. I think that's my opinion.
It was good.
He does look cool too.
Sorry, I'm jumping.
No,
on
you're good. I don't have much to say. Much else of that. Django, big part of that. Got a good amount of Mace action in there. Pretty good too. Kit Fisto's there. Pretty good as well.
Smiling,
Smiling away.
With
What is he
his
smiling about?
snake hair.
What
I
does he
don't
have to
know.
smile about?
It's really cool.
Is it cool or is it spooky?
A little spooky.
Okay.
I feel like we'd be doing a disservice to Lucas for Attack of the Clones because I had it pretty low. But there's one moment in that movie that I really loved, and that's when Anakin does Dark Lord Anakin style and removes the Tusken Raider camp. from
Yeah, he
existence.
does. He does, doesn't he?
That moment is powerful, and you start to see Vader for the first time coming out.
I totally forgot about that until
This-
just now that you say that.
Those are Vader eyes. I
Yeah?
was seeing
Oh, yeah.
under that hood, and you start to get the chills that hey, the dark side's coming out of this guy, and it's
It's massacred this
scary.
village. Yeah.
right. And then it completely ruins the moment when he gets a hug from Padme.
Shmi. Oh, sorry.
From Padme, he
Padme,
gets a
yeah.
hug from her that it's okay. I don't care that you killed a whole camp of creatures and Tusken Raiders. You're my guy still. I don't know.
Okay.
No one likes
You regret
Tusken
that.
Raiders.
Number 5. We're in the top 5, Chris. Look alive.
Okay, let's keep going.
Did you do your 5?
No, I have not.
Okay.
My 5 is Return of the Jedi.
Wow. Top 5.
Yeah, used to
You
be higher.
sucker.
It's a trap.
Used to be higher. It's a little lower now. Return of the Jedi. It's a fun adventure. It's got a lot of stuff in there that I like. It's number 5 of a really
It's a respectable.
good list of movies,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's a good spot to be. The end of that movie is a quintessential Star Wars, and seeing Luke confront Vader and the turn of Vader and the destruction of the Emperor. Well, we thought
The destruction of everything. We
that's
thought.
right. That's right. That throne room. I cannot envision a more incredible setting for a dark versus light moment.
Iconic.
Iconic. And then you have Williams underscoring it with this fantastic dark theme, and it's so cool. Anyway, that's Return of the Jedi
Love
for
it.
me.
Number 5. The Force Awakens.
All right.
Something has awakened indeed. Do you feel it? I remember as I look up into the ceiling and think back to when I saw the trailer for The Force Awakens for the first time. I was let me paint a picture for you guys. I was in the break room at the third Walmart that I had worked at. Transferred for reasons. It's none of your business. It's for a different episode. And the Chewie were home to close out the trailer. Really good. Really, really good. I think The Force Awakens probably takes the cake out of the newest 3. I think The Rise of Skywalker probably has cooler quote unquote cooler set pieces and stuff. But as far as vibe and consistency is a big word. Consistency?
It's a big word.
Consistency is a big word to say, and it's a big word for this saga. Like Kylo, they sure killed off Han Solo, but Harrison Ford couldn't give a rip, and that's his business.
Yeah, but to be fair, I agree with what you're saying. I do enjoy those aspects of Force Awakens.
But smack me on the hand.
It was the last moment we ever could have had the 4 original characters back together on screen at the same time. Carrie's gone.
Yeah.
So Leia can't do it unless she's fake, which they're getting more of that on screen.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, it is fine, isn't
that
it?
was the last time you were going to have the 4 organic characters, real in-life action characters together on set, on screen again, and you'll never get it back because he killed freaking Han Solo.
All of them.
Because he's a deadbeat dad, and he ruined his kid, and he's estranged from his wife. He gets stabbed through the heart, and he's trying to do a good thing again. A little late, Han. You should have stayed.
Sucker.
You should have stayed old Han from Return of the Jedi when you were this good guy and helping the rebellion out. So yeah.
To close out Force Awakens, I will say the ending with Luke just disgraveled. Is that a word? Luke.
It is now.
Thank you. And then it ends. It was the Infinity War ending before the Infinity War ending happened, in my opinion. Okay. Good stuff. I liked it because you're like, where's Luke? He's gonna be here. Haven't seen him yet. There he is. You're gonna have to wait. And then Last Jedi, number 4.
My number 4 is A New Hope. Used to be top 3. It's dropped a notch. I respect it. That's why it's held so highly for me. But if you compare it to the other stuff that has been produced in the Star Wars universe, it really doesn't hold up. A nod to you, Josh B, with the quality conversation. I agree, but really it's the storyline aspect. It's kind of even though it was a big moment at the end, killing the Death Star, blowing up the Death Star, that's great. It's kind of a small scope kind of a film, if I can explain myself. Luke gets out of this desert town and he ends up as a pilot, and now they're attacking the Death Star and it's gone. That happens over a couple hours. A lot of fun moments. I do love the movie. I love the moment with old Ben and Vader.
Yes.
And that whole turn of events showing himself dying in front of Luke because Luke needed to see it. And he just disappears, and you're like, where did he go?
Yes, the midichlorians.
The midichlorians are just laying there under the blanket.
And that scene's elevated after you've seen Revenge of the Sith.
What happens to the midichlorians when you turn to a ghost Jedi?
You are the midichlorians.
Do they ascend with you?
You leave your body, you become just midichlorians.
Oh, okay. So they're iridescent? Or they glow?
Yes.
Are you like those crayfish? What are they called? Like krill? You like krill in the ocean?
Bioluminescent? Is that what you call them?
Why not?
Okay.
Those fish at Walmart that you can buy for $1 that glow in the dark.
But in the Revenge of the Sith battle on Mustafar between Obi-Wan and Anakin elevates the scene in New Hope for me. So even though New Hope is probably this not as good as Empire Strikes Back in my opinion, even though I don't have it as highly rated as the others, I think that scene is really cool and even gets better after you've seen the context.
Yeah.
You can think, whoa, I remember all the...
Well, it by itself as a standalone film, 1977, it was amazing. And today, like if you watch a reaction video of someone watching it for the first time, they're like, "Oh, that's a good movie," and that's their opinion of it. But when you put it in context, well, when you put them with Empire and Jedi,
right,
and Rogue One, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yep.
Then you have this moment where this is amazing. So that's mine.
Number four, yeah. Number 4, Return of the Jedi.
You have it high up there.
I do. I have fond memories of Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm not sure if I have much to say.
The iconic speeder bike race.
Bike race. Endor.
That's the appropriate length for a speeder race.
How long? How long would you say is the appropriate length for a speeder race?
Under 5 minutes.
But not more than.
But is there a speeder bike in a forest racing game? It wasn't long enough to have a game out of it.
There probably was. I don't remember.
You have to give it a
I'm
goose.
sure there's a mission in some Star Wars game somewhere.
I'm trying to think. I think my favoriteest moment from Return of the Jedi, as I try to remember the film. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm failing you.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Yeah, it is.
It is a trap.
Yeah, I think it is the throne room scene. And, the ultimate conclusion
iconic.
there.
I mean, you can't. When you think Empire, even the window is shaped like the Imperial symbol. It just matches.
Yep.
It is the Empire. It is that trilogy.
We are the Empire. Chris, we're in the top 3.
Number 3 for me is Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
That's way higher than I would have.
Yeah,
put it.
yeah.
Well, it used to be a lot lower. And my explanation for that is
Better have one.
Order 66. So I just finished Clone Wars season 7.
It's pretty good.
And after watching that bumped up Revenge of the Sith. I'm in my top 3. So I'm a big Dave Filoni fan. What he's done in the Clone Wars and Rebels and now continuing in the Mandalorian, seeing that conclusion of the Emperor's master plan to eradicate the Jedi and to bring the Empire in existence. That's Revenge of the Sith. Really, really great stuff there. I wasn't a big fan of how they did Mace Windu. I thought he was going to be a little bigger of a deal.
Yes.
But that's fine. He gave the Emperor his
Just desserts.
He was beating the Emperor, which
yeah.
Anakin ruined that. But
Well, was he, or was that part of Palpatine's plan?
Palpatine seemed to be panicking.
But this is what gives you chills when you think about it. Was all of that to his plan, like the old Ben Vader death, where old Ben let himself die so Luke could see it? Was Palpatine letting himself get owned by Mace Windu?
Son.
So that Anakin would see it, have sympathy, pity, and become what he needed him to become.
He could have, but I still.
I would argue he did.
I think maybe he did, but I still like to think that he had no choice. That maybe that part was he can't take on. He lost. He and Yoda basically drew in a stalemate, and they were on record. Even Anakin and Obi-Wan are on record saying Mace Windu was the strongest. So I think maybe he knew Yoda and Mace Windu, Obi-Wan. These are some big threats. I need an apprentice to take them on for me because Count Dooku's not doing it, right?
Super dead.
So I think I can agree he was planning it, but I also like to think that there was a reason for it. That maybe Windu and Yoda inspired this plan. Like, I need to get rid of these guys, and I can't do it. Because
who walked into the room with him? There were 3 or 4 Jedi.
Kit Fisto was
one. Poor Kit Fisto.
And who was the other one? Ki-Adi-Mundi? Was it the
No,
tall
he died.
head
He
guy?
died. He died on that other snow planet.
Oh,
yeah, Mike
He
Ito.
did, that's right. Who was the other one then? Was it Eth
He was a darker skin one with the horns.
That was Eth Koth. That's his
Okay.
name. So
Okay.
he did them like nothing.
No, they're
gone,
dropped. They're
right?
dead.
It's like Yoda walking in and taking out those royal guards.
That's really good.
By just like a thought in his head, and they dropped to the ground.
But they're also not on the council. They're not the top.
Oh, but they're Jedi Knights.
Correct.
They are.
Probably Jedi Knights.
They should do
Is
something.
Kit Fisto a master? I don't know.
It didn't look like Palpatine dropped a notch in the fight, though, at any point. Might have just been the choreography, but...
He just takes him out. Anyway.
Oh, he's good. He's definitely powerful, but because the Force is needs to be in balance at all times, something had to equal him on the light. Yeah. And I think that was Yoda, and I think Yoda finally reached the point. If they had fought in even the previous movie, I think Yoda would have won. I think that he's finally getting older, and it's catching up with him. I mean, you can see it when he's crawling through the ducks at the end of Revenge of the Sith after he fought Palpatine.
But could he? Or did Palpatine want you to think that? This guy is, I mean, you look at
he's sold. He's
from
sold.
Episode 1 to Episode 9, he's the final order. He's got
the final order, man.
I mean, he had it all down. He had his planner, his day planner.
He
full.
He had a calendar book. He was cycling
page
through.
66, Jedi die.
Page 66.
The last page, he raises up 1,000 Star Destroyers.
He sure does, doesn't he?
With Death Star tech on them. I mean, it's great.
So, and there's another theory that goes along with that too, that maybe he was Anakin's father, because Shmi said there was no father. What if he used the Force to put Anakin in there?
We need like a DNA test.
Okay, yep.
Who's the father?
Yoda's Jerry Springer. Number 3, A New Hope, for me.
My number 3.
My number 3 is New Hope. That was my number 3, New Hope.
All right,
it's good. It's a good film. It's a good film. There's twin sons. Luke is there in the desert. They're always in a desert at some point.
Yeah,
it's just hot and warm.
Yeah.
I don't like.
They're in the trash compactor. Han is there. He's not grouchy for the most part.
And the eyeball monster in the water there.
That doesn't get enough recognition.
It doesn't. No.
That's all I'll say.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Number 2.
Number 3. You just say number 3?
Do you know which 2 I have left? You can keep track.
Empire Strikes Back isn't on. You haven't said that one yet.
That's one of the top 2 for me. Yep.
I said it was first.
That's probably number 1.
Rogue One.
That's right. My number 2 is Empire Strikes Back.
Put Rogue
Wow.
One first.
Well, I'll explain.
Whoa.
explain.
Wow.
explain.
Goodness.
After I saw Rogue One, it was top 4 for me. I think it was my number 4. Original trilogy was 1, 2, 3. After seeing the conclusion of everything, I have gone back and watched Rogue One a few more times, and I only have one overarching complaint about the movie itself. One, that it's a Star Wars story, when none of it happens without Rogue One. If you look at what happened, none of it happens without Rogue One.
Pretty
A
pivotal.
New Hope doesn't happen. It's the end of Hope without Rogue One. So if you're looking for a beginning of hope, it's Rogue One.
I just wanted to see more Bothan spies. That's my only criticism.
It's pretty good. Those are pretty good.
Where'd the Bothan
But-
spies go?
And I have with me, my wife took the quiz also.
Yes.
And we don't need to go into that heavily. She was nervous about me saying too much about the list.
Oh no.
I don't want to.
That's personal business.
Yeah, it is.
There's
it
nothing
is.
more vulnerable than Star Wars.
I'm telling you,
That's
it
right.
is. Well, she
That's right.
knows that it's going to be possibly read in front of a bunch of Star Wars geeks and nerds,
Well,
and that's an intimidating thing.
it's true.
So, but her list, I love it because it shows a different perspective that I don't have. Her number 1 is Rogue One as well,
Wow.
and so together we could pop that movie in at any point and watch it, and both of us love it.
I love it.
That's another reason why it's my number 1.
That's great.
I'm gonna watch it after this. I'm gonna
the-
fall asleep to this movie. I like
Character
it. You see it.
quality, solid. It still had the adventure. It had the space battle, an incredible space battle. It didn't have the lightsaber stuff going on, but that's okay. That
It
really,
was a Star Wars story.
well, and at that point there shouldn't have been any lightsaber
Correct.
battles. The Jedi are supposed to be gone. There were a couple over the top creatures in there, but that's Star Wars. It's part of the
Indeed. Yeah,
universe.
part of the vibe.
That's fine. You had the Death Star tech introduced, and the amazing effects of the first Death Star shot, partial power, destroying a whole area of a planet. Incredible.
And the Jedi Temple.
And the
Part of
yeah, it's incredible. And then you have the whole you have a heist movie also mixed in, which was fantastic because it's still the whole thing, it felt Star Wars to me. And the whole idea of this ridiculous shaft on the Death Star where you could just drop a couple bombs in it and blow the whole thing up. It's not ridiculous now.
No.
It was.
There was a purpose to it.
There's a reason. I mean, the
Yes.
exhaust port was probably going to be there, but it linking in with the core of the Death Star, that's by design. It's a trap. It's supposed to hose
Look
the
out.
Emperor and the Empire, and that was all by design by the designer. What was his name?
What was his name?
What's his name? Oh my
We
gosh.
we know it once
They're
we hear
turning our
it.
cards.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway,
You have cards?
Yeah, exactly. It just, I love it. I love the beginning of the
That was your
rebellion,
number
seeing
one?
that come through. That was my number 1.
Holy cow.
I'm skipping ahead though.
No, you're right.
My number 2 is Empire Strikes Back. And
Yeah.
I don't need to talk a lot about that. It's iconic.
Near and dear.
It is the for me, Hoth, the AT-ATs,
Yep.
the snow speeders, Dagobah.
You're there.
I mean, I'm there.
Yes.
And the Emperor hunting down Luke and the plans, or just Luke and the whole crew. Just I love it. Love every bit of it.
Did you guess that number 1?
Cloud City.
I
Did
had Rogue
you
One
thought-
third, and I
Okay.
had for him.
You had
Strikes
Empire
Back
at one.
first, and I had his second as New Hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
So I was close.
Mhm.
I got your last one right.
But you know, when you're doing that quiz, is this one better than that one? Is that
Yeah,
one better than
no,
this one?
it's
If I
very-
could put one in at any moment and watch it, it's gonna be Rogue One every time. Rogue One.
My number 2 is Rogue One.
Nice.
Number 2 is Rogue One. I have very little. I don't think I don't want to say that. I have very little negative things to say about that movie, and I don't know why, but everything felt on purpose. I know that I can't remember what happened, but they had to go and do some reshoots for some reason. Did they lose a director at one point or something like that? Do you remember?
I don't remember
I-
that. Oh yeah. Yes, the director who did the third of the Star Trek reboots. He was the initial director. I believe he got replaced, or they did some reshoots, forced reshoots on him. If I'm remembering this right, I could be wrong.
It was something like that. But
Mhm.
also with a situation like that, could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. But the tone was consistent. I feel good actors, good cast, good vibe, all that stuff. Number 1, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh wow.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm surprised you actually had it so far.
But again,
And-
you guys were coming up during the prequel, so that was.
Allow me
Sorry.
allow me to explain.
I'll shut up.
Thank you. Would you please? It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so Josh kind of said it too. Let me stumble my way through this. And this does have a lot to do with what you just said about the being in the prequel era of life or whatever. When I think of Star Wars, I do think of the big space battles, Jedi jumping to and fro, like Space Ninja stuff. All about it. That's the vibe. That's what I like. Some of that comes from the prequel. Some of it comes from the games and things like that have come out since then. Obviously, the originals came out at a different time, little different vision, or the same, the original vision at the time, all that stuff. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But because of what I was exposed to at such a young age, could have phrased it differently, but I meant it nonetheless. That's where my mind goes. I like Hayden. I understand that he got the raw end of the stick. He kills Dooku in the first 90 seconds of the film. Pretty good.
He's better in Revenge of the Sith than he is in the
I
other
agree.
ones.
Do it.
Yes, of course. Memes. If anything, Star Wars has given us memes.
Yeah.
So way to open a movie though. That shot where they fly over the ship and then you hear this huge expansive space battle
Yep.
and you're like,
that's
this
great.
is Star Wars.
That's great.
And the
This
whole
is
movie-
Star Wars.
And in the whole movie, you're like, okay, now
Yeah.
we're on Utapau, big battle. Now you're
Yep.
on this planet, big
Utapau.
battle. Like it shows,
Yeah.
wow, this is a real galactic conflict going
Yep.
on.
And then the Jedi get turned on by all
By
of the
Order
clones.
66.
I mean,
It's a big deal.
Shivers.
With Anakin with the hood. He
And
kills
John
the children.
Williams in
But-
that scene.
But yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Right before that, though, you have Obi-Wan jumping down from the catwalk.
Yes.
Hello there.
Hello there. That's my text tone on my phone.
I love
It's
it.
true.
What a line. Hello there.
Oh my gosh.
McGregor did a great job.
He's coming back.
Hayden
Yes.
Christensen
Yes.
did what he.
He's coming back too.
People like to complain about that actor, but he did what he was told.
Again, I think he suffered from the writing
Mm-hmm.
in Attack of the Clones.
It's better though. He comes off the long hair, the darker uniform.
Yeah.
He has the scar. I think
Yep.
he comes off better in that movie. He's a little darker, a little
Yeah,
edgier.
agreed.
It's got some edge to him.
The clones aren't just all wearing the white suits. They got the different, more personalities to them. You see clones doing things in the back. If you look closely, some of the shots, they have like a clone ripping a droid apart with his bare hands.
Yeah.
You see a clone getting ripped apart in the background. Like this is some gruesome stuff. We didn't get this before.
It was a darker movie.
It was.
For a darker time.
That's why it was PG-13. Even though New Hope with this burning skeleton probably should have been PG-13.
Burning. Yeah, you're right. That
It
is
was a different
terrifying.
time, man.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
What does that mean? There's a burning skeleton. I will say, out of all those original-ish films, the one that I remember going to see in theaters was Revenge of the Sith. I remember it was me, my dad. I can't remember if my brother was there, but my dad fell asleep in the first 15 minutes. It's okay. It's not his thing. Good memories. Good memories.
I was blown away in that theater. That was like just
Yeah,
imagine if
Good
that's
stuff.
the first science fiction movie you see. It's the first Star Wars movie you get to see in theaters. It's
Mhm.
put in a big screen. It's loud. It's blaring. And they did a good job with it. I know that people have criticisms of the movie and not everything about it is perfect. But
What is perfect?
I don't know. Like you said,
Rogue One's perfect.
Okay, I don't disagree
Actually,
with
no.
you.
And you missed my overarching issue with Rogue One. There's
Oh.
only one thing that I don't care for. No John Williams.
Interesting.
It's different composition. It's a different orchestration, different melodies. Can anyone in this room whistle or hum or sing the theme or any of the big songs from Rogue One?
I
Cannot.
can like faintly remember stuff from the new trilogy, some certain scenes, but that's it.
Yeah.
Would you like me to try with no memory?
I mean, I can say quotes from it. I can give lines from it. I can tell you the whole plot of the movie and the characters and what they're doing. I can't remember the name of the guy who designed the Death Star weapon, but that's in a.
Galen Urso.
Thank you.
Yeah. Should we hug?
Yeah, Urso.
No?
That's right.
COVID.
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
Yeah. Galen. That's right. That was the
Galen.
name I was trying to think of.
Galen.
Yeah. Anyway.
We
Cool.
we did it. We did it.
Yeah. we
We
made it.
got
How
to
did-
the rankings. I knew it would take this
Is
long.
anyone still listening?
Yeah, Kevin probably at some point. He's probably hopped back and forth, but that's all right. Concluding thoughts here. I mean,
Well, I think it was more. There were some differences with his rankings.
Sure.
He nailed me pretty well. But,
yeah,
Then again, I when I've talked about it with him in the past, I already had the Clone Wars in me. I already had the games and extended universe.
I already knew that. Yeah, going into it.
So I mean, in games too, we didn't talk about that. We talked about Pod Racer. Made the joke a couple times, but the games helped a lot. The first game I ever played in my entire life was Pod Racer.
All right.
So first thing I ever did was play Star Wars. More Star Wars games, then Dark Forces was my second game ever. So 2 Star Wars games in a row. Right after I had been shown the original trilogy. I'm 4 years old. I think I had to rewatch them later because I didn't really understand what was going on. But the games were part of it. Now I'm getting into the books and extended universe of it all. Star Wars has definitely shaped my life in a pretty big way for a fictional science fiction series of movies.
It's good. It's a good way to conclude that. You got more stuff you want to hash out? Or we?
If you guys do, we can. But
well, I had one
you
question.
You did have what you did.
One question I wanted to ask you. So you did play some Star Wars games.
I have, yes.
So
you said that reluctantly for some reason.
Well, it's been a bit.
Okay. I think I remember you saying you played Knights of the Old Republic.
KOTOR, yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Still a great game if you can get it to run on Windows 10. It's difficult, but there's community patches to make it work. But yes, great game. I love it. Please make a Revan movie. Even if
I agree. I think that character would be fantastic to see, or at least. So, wild idea, wild thought. What if you have a Revan film and a sequel, but instead of a sequel, it's a reverse universe. So you have the decision being made, or maybe in some way to show the two paths. Because in the games, you could either become Darth Revan or Jedi Knight Revan, which made the game so fun.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That'd be bizarre.
Or hey, another wild idea. How about this? Make it interactive with the fans, right? The fanboys. You have your Revan movie gets all the way to the point at the end of this moment where he has to decide, and that's where it ends. And then you have a fan vote.
Choose your own adventure.
Where do you want him to go?
This be so good.
How do you want this to go down? And they make the movie based on the fan vote. Yeah. It'll never happen, but yeah, I can dream.
The balance in the fans. So
get out of town.
And it's not like we don't still get to see him in both ways, because before he makes that choice in the game, he starts as a light side, he goes to the dark side, and then the choice becomes, does he come back to the light?
Yeah.
Because he forgets about the Force and all that. I think that's the storyline. Because he starts the Sith. That's the storyline. He leaves the Jedi Order. He takes Jedi with him to the Mandalorian Wars, and he starts the first Sith Order.
That was after Bane? Or before Bane? Darth Bane? Of course, we're in the expanded universe now.
I think Bane's...
A lot of that's gone.
I think Bane's KOTOR 2, I think.
Never spoken of again.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But yeah, so he starts the Sith, but then his choice, regardless, his punishment by the Jedi Council is they disconnect him from the Force, which is the beginning of the games, and then you make your decision how you want to regrow. But then Malak takes over. And he becomes the second Lord of the Sith.
So many good names.
Revan used it as a weapon. Not necessarily was he dark or light. It would be conflicting.
Yeah.
But what was so cool about his character is he uses both, and he throws the whole engine of the whole franchise on its head, of what's really light, what's really dark. And like you said, in the Clone Wars, they talk about these deities. They were just, it stemmed from the older one.
But this isn't again. It's not in the universe anymore.
They'll have to bring it back.
Well, and that's what you and I were talking about.
Thrawn's back.
It's not there until they decide, people like this. We want them to like us. Let's bring it back. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Revan has a lot of fans. Those games.
Keanu. It's got to be Keanu.
Yeah.
Hashtag make it Keanu. Make him guess.
Well, and that's been a lot of people's detraction to it, right? Is you can make your own character in the game. You can look. There's presets, but you can pick what your character looks like. But in every rendition of Revan in books and in future games, he's always had the long dark hair.
Yes.
And Keanu fits that perfectly.
Yes.
Sure does.
Can we end on Keanu?
That'd be great.
Should we say a prayer for Keanu?
Whoa.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Hey, so much Star Wars. We did it. This has been exciting. This has been an hour and 40 minutes of Star Wars. So I hope this is for someone. It's for us. We're going to have this for the rest of our lives.
It happened.
It made me happy. Hey, thanks for listening. If you're still here, anyone. Have a great rest of your week, no matter what day it is. Just remember that Chris, Josh, other Josh, not me.
And go watch some Star Wars.
They're thinking about you. Oh, watch some Star Wars.
Avoid sand.
Hello.